My phone started going off yesterday, emails, social media, and I started looking at my phone going, what's going on? And then I had to sit down because the news was overwhelming.
And many people are talking about him, sharing their stories of him, but you really actually had a rare opportunity to spend time with him because he was inducted into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. Tell us about the man. So many of us know about him as a ball player, but tell us about the man you met.
I met a great family man. I mean, he brought Brandy, his wife, and Braden and Ryan, his sons, were here for all 3 days. And, the way he introduced me to them, the way he talked about them during the weekend. He's the pitching coach for his one son. He likes the family time. I mean, one of the reasons he retired was to spend time with the family. And, we all know what he did on the field by his stats in the box score, but what he did off the field and for kids and with his family is just fantastic.
And people keep talking about how when you met him face to face, he really made you feel welcomed. He didn't act like a celebrity around a mere mortal. He made you feel like you were one of his friends. Did you get a sense of that when you met him?
For sure. I mean, he flew in to Toronto, and we had 3 days of exciting events here in St. Mary's, and he was just willing and able to do any of the activities that we asked him to do. And of course, being Roy Halladay, he got flooded by fans for photos and handshakes and stories and autographs. But he was great with all the fans. He did what was asked. It was a long, tiring weekend, but he did it with a smile, and he sent a lot of fans away very happy.
And he seems to enjoy that type of encounter with fans.
He does. He definitely does. He likes to hear the stories about him and how he affected people who, he made them play baseball because they watched him play. He were able to help kids attend ball games, so they had those lasting memories that couldn't afford the tickets, so he provided them. He was just a great individual.
A great ambassador for his sport. Now, he was inducted into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame this past summer. What made him such a great baseball player?
His drive and determination. He was one of those players that was there first in the morning, left last at the night, and he was really dedicated. They all the talk, but you don't want to talk to him when he pitches on that day because he was in the zone. But days he wasn't pitching, he was fantastic. He got a lot of support by the veterans when he came up from guys like Pat Henkin and Paul Quantrill. And then as he grew up to be a veteran, he helped the younger kids, younger pitchers as well on the team. And if you wanted to listen and learn and work hard, he was willing to help.
And, he was also playing at a time when the Jays were not at their best, and yet he delivered every time he went up on that mound. That must have added a little something to why he was so special to Canadian fans.
He did. He was there when the Jays were having some struggling years, and he was still one of the best pitchers in baseball. ERAs, wins, innings pitched, strikeouts. He pitched 16 years in the big leagues, 12 with Toronto, and you'd have to argue to find a better pitcher than him during that time. He just, even though the team wasn't overly successful, he kept pitching very well.
And yet here we have as well an American, really an American through and through, who had a great affinity for his Canadian fans. What legacy do you think he leaves behind for Canadian baseball?
He leaves a legacy of hardworking, dedicated family man. Shows you that you can, if you want to do it, you can do it. He got sent back down to Single A after a rough pitching year to rework his mechanics and to change every aspect of his game. And he went down there and he did it. He had to ride the buses again. He was a first-round draft pick, but they sent him back to the minors after time in the big leagues. And he came back up and obviously was very accomplished and learned how to reform his game and pitch well.
Well, it's a loss on so many fronts this morning. Scott, thank you for speaking to us today.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me on.
And that's Scott Crawford with the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame.